Imagine waking up 60,000 years ago with a screaming toothache. No dentist, no emergency line, no little tube of gel to numb it. Just you, a rotten tooth, and absolutely nowhere to hide from the pain. Today we panic if the dentist is running 10 minutes late. Back then, dental care meant a sharp rock and a lot of nerve. You'd think ancient humans just gritted their teeth and suffered forever. That is exactly what scientists assumed, until they found one very suspicious tooth. A tooth with a hole drilled straight into it on purpose. Not from decay, not from an accident, from a tool. Someone 60,000 years ago performed actual dentistry. Picture your last dentist visit. Comfy chair, numbing spray, gentle music. Now, delete all of that and replace it with a cave, a fire, and a rock. That is the entire waiting room experience for Paleolithic dental care. No consent form, no insurance, definitely no laughing gas. Just a friend, a sharp stone, and enormous trust issues. Somehow, this actually worked. Humanity did not go extinct from freelance dentistry. Impressive, honestly. You might assume prehistoric people just lost bad teeth and moved on. Falling out, rotting away, no big deal, life goes on. That is the obvious answer. It is also wrong. In 2016, researchers digging in a Siberian cave found a molar that refused to make sense. It had a hole, a deep one, right where the decay was worst. For years, nobody knew if it was natural damage or something else entirely. Then, in 2026, a new study finally cracked the case. The tooth belonged to a Neanderthal and it is about 59,000 years old. It was found in Chagirskaya Cave, a Neanderthal campsite in southwestern Siberia. Under the microscope, the cavity told a very specific story. Deep decay near the gum line and tiny groove marks along the edge of the hole. Researchers tested the theory on modern human teeth using small stone tools. A twisting motion with a thin pointed rock produced the exact same grooves. The likely material, jasper, a stone the Neanderthals already used for tool making. In other words, someone picked up a tiny stone drill and went to work. And here is the wild part. The person survived. Chew marks later formed right over the drilled grooves. That only happens if you keep eating with that tooth for a long time afterward. This Neanderthal did not just survive dental surgery with no anesthesia. They lived long enough to wear the evidence down with breakfast. Here is the frustrating part about ancient dentistry. Nobody left a review. We don't know if this Neanderthal treated their own tooth or if a friend did it for them. One expert thinks it was self-treatment. Digging into your own rotten tooth doesn't really need a team. Other primates survive brutal injuries completely alone. So a solo Neanderthal dentist is entirely possible. We will probably never know for sure who held the drill. What we do know is that Neanderthals weren't just surviving, they were problem-solving. This pushes back the origin of intentional dentistry by around 45,000 years. Before this, the oldest known treated cavity was about 14,000 years old, from Italy, made by our own species. Suddenly, Homo sapiens weren't the first dentists on Earth. Neanderthals also appear to have cared for a child with Down syndrome and eaten medicinal plants. Turns out healthcare is not a modern invention. It might be a family trait. Subscribe now, or a future archaeologist might end up drilling into your search history instead. Right, back to the actual point. Teeth have always caused humans problems. Fast forward tens of thousands of years, and humans kept drilling teeth on purpose. In Mehrgarh, in what is now Pakistan, dentists were busy about 9,000 years ago. Archaeologists found 9 adults with drilled molars using tiny flint drill bits. These early dentists were shockingly consistent, like they had done this before. No painkillers, no dental chair, just extremely steady hands. Over in ancient Egypt, dentistry got fancy. Egyptians made bridges out of gold wire to hold a replacement tooth in place. They also believed a tiny worm burrowed into your tooth and caused the pain. This toothworm myth was so convincing, it stuck around for thousands of years. One of our oldest written complaints roughly describes a worm eating away at the tooth. Ancient Mesopotamians blamed the same imaginary worm. So did medieval Europeans, and even some doctors in the 1700s. Nobody wanted to admit the real answer was just sugar, and bad luck. Ancient Romans, meanwhile, gargled with urine to whiten their teeth. Yes, actual urine, sometimes imported from Portugal for premium quality. Meanwhile, in ancient Mesoamerica, the Maya turned teeth into jewelry. They carved small holes into healthy teeth and inserted polished jade and turquoise. Yes, they voluntarily drilled perfectly good teeth for fashion. Somewhere, a Neanderthal dentist is rolling in their grave with professional jealousy. Ancient Chinese medical texts, over 1,000 years old, describe using mercury to fill cavities. It technically worked. Please, do not try this today. By the Middle Ages, dentistry had a new job title, the barber. Yes, the same person cutting your hair might also yank out your molar. One chair, 2 completely different services, 0 safety standards. Medieval dentists also had a favourite gruesome gadget nicknamed the tooth key. It clamped onto a tooth and yanked it out, like starting a very painful car. Even today, the red and white barber pole quietly nods to this bloody dual profession. By the 1700s, dentures were a booming business, made from ivory, animal bone, or other people's teeth. After major battles, scavengers collected teeth from the dead to sell to denture makers. These grim dentures earned a nickname referencing the battlefield they came from. Even America's first president wore a set of uncomfortable dentures. And no, they were not wooden. They were actually made from ivory, metal, and yes, other people's teeth. So yes, humans have always found new and creative ways to deal with tooth pain. The word dentist did not even exist in English until the 1750s, borrowed from the French dentiste. In the 1840s, dentistry finally got its biggest upgrade: anesthesia. Ether and nitrous oxide meant patients could stay unconscious instead of just gripping the chair. This alone might be humanity's greatest quality of life invention, arguably better than the wheel. Before anesthesia, brave just meant currently in a dentist's chair, fully awake. Compare that to a modern filling. 15 minutes, some music, maybe a lollipop after. Compare that to a Neanderthal cavity. A rock, a lot of nerve, and hopefully a friend nearby. The tools changed completely. The problem never did. So why would any ancient human risk this at all? Because an infected tooth is not just annoying, it can be lethal. Before antibiotics, a tooth abscess could spread infection through the entire body. Ignoring a rotten tooth was simply not a safe long-term plan. Removing the rot, however painful, could genuinely save a life. That is presumably why a Neanderthal picked up a stone drill instead of just enduring it. Pain is a great motivator. So is not dying from a tooth infection. This is not a story about vanity, it is a story about survival. Every single culture from Siberia to Mesoamerica hit the exact same wall. Teeth fail. And every single time, humans found a way to intervene. However terrifying that intervention looked. Today, a cavity means a quick trip to the dentist and a tube of numbing gel. We have x-rays, local anesthetic, and dental floss shaped like tiny plastic swords. We complain about the drilling sound, forgetting that the drill itself is a miracle. Modern toothpaste alone probably prevents more suffering than every ancient remedy combined. Fluoride, floss, and a twice-yearly cleaning. That is basically ancient magic to a Neanderthal. If that Siberian Neanderthal could see a modern dental office, they might actually cry. Partly from relief, partly from the bill. Somewhere along the way, we also invented the tooth fairy, a much gentler way to deal with a missing tooth. Cavemen got a rock and a friend. Modern kids get cash under the pillow, which, honestly, still involves someone sneaking up on you while you're vulnerable. These days, most people brush their teeth twice a day without a second thought. Somewhere, that Neanderthal would consider a toothbrush pure science fiction. 60,000 years separate that Siberian cave from your local dental clinic. The tools evolved from stone to steel to lasers. But the instinct never changed. Something hurts, so we fix it, whatever the cost. That single molar in a Russian cave proves something remarkable about being human. Long before writing, before farming, before cities, we were already problem solvers. We looked pain directly in the face and picked up a tool anyway. So next time you dread a dental appointment, spare a thought for that Neanderthal. No numbing gel. No modern medicine. Just raw nerve and a rock. They did not just survive the toothache. They may have invented healthcare itself.